Radio.net.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip. Open your ears. Strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
GlobalScaleRadio.net.
If you're lying, then you must be half stepping. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J back once again for a live show. Get down with us tonight on November 19th, Monday. 804-447-0601. 804-447-0601 to get down with us for a live show of Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J coming to you live on GlobalScaleRadio.net and on your mobile phones on MixLR. Thank you so much for listening to us. We appreciate the love. Thank you to everybody. We see y'all lighting up the boards already, so we about to get it in. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. Got a live show for you tonight. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff. Of course, the normal things we get into. We got the National Basketball Association. We got some stuff going on both coasts that we're going to want to talk about. Then we got the National Football League. Of course, we got two teams in the room that got a win. We got one team that had a bye, and our special guest team took a L yesterday, and we'll introduce that person momentarily. Then, of course, we got a missing child, as we do every single week. We always want to find our missing children, so we're going to do that. And then Carlton Banks wants to ask a question. He wants to know, what do you think about it? And we'll ask that question at the top of the hour when we begin our socially conscious and entertainment hour at 8 p.m. here on the East Side. What do you think about it, Carlton Banks? And then we're going to finish off the hour with Marcus J, as I do from time to time, asking the singular question of what the hell is going on. So there's a few things and a little bit of teaser that I'll give you with my subject and what the hell tonight is. There's some people that's kind of wilding out 2 weeks later. I'll just leave it there. What the hell? Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J, Big Rube, and Carlton Banks, and our special guest who I will introduce to you guys momentarily. But as I do every single week, I go around the room. I want to know what's up with the homies. And as I do first up every single week, it's not unusual that I ask Carlton Banks how he's doing. What's going on, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. It's
good to see you, man. You doing all right?
Doing good. Had a short weekend.
Yeah, it's an ugly ass shirt you got on.
Oh, that's all right. It's better than the hat you wearing.
Yeah, well, you know, my shirt and my hat has one more victory than your shirt. And your,
yeah, just one. One.
Yeah, it used to be like 2.5, right?
Yeah.
Y'all looking pretty good. But we'll talk about that in about 30 minutes. Around 7:30, we're gonna get into the National Football League. But how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. I had a chance to go hang out with my son and take him to a birthday party with one of my former Silver Jackals who had a birthday, turned 8 over here at a go-kart place here in Richmond. So it was fun. But the drawback was I had to watch the certain game that was being televised that unfortunately.
Was this yesterday?
Yeah, this was yesterday.
Am I assuming that the team that you had to watch were wearing maroon and gold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my Saturday was even better. I got to go hang out with a few classmates from Thomas Jefferson High School of Richmond, Virginia, and one of my classmates is sponsoring an event, theburtonwire.com, and went up there and support her and had a good time up in D.C. I tell you this much: if you've never been to D.C. on a weekend, it's horrible, man. Did you know you had to pay for parking at the meters?
Yeah, man, but it's cool the way they do it now because you don't have to put money in it. There's a little computer that you go to at a central location.
Not on my street.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, my street didn't have that.
So you had the
I had to
old
download
school,
the app, right? Because I kept running out of change from running
so you had
one
to
block
do
over.
the old school way, the new school way, and I guess maybe you hadn't seen it, but they have a central machine that's at the corner.
Right, but there was no machine there.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, there was no machine there. I had to go to another corner, another street, and keep getting change. And these people were like, why you keep just buying a bag of chips? Why you keep buying a soda? Because I need to change to go put it in this machine here that y'all robbing me out of for a quarter to get 7.5 minutes of the cop not giving me a ticket.
That's what's up, man. I know you was hot.
I was hot, yeah.
You sound like you not too happy
Yeah,
about that
$1
right
for
now.
30 minutes, man. And I won't about to park in nobody's parking spot because parking deck for $8.
Yeah, they'll get you. But that's everywhere.
And that's a quarter. It matter how long you been there. You been in there 1 minute.
Yeah,
We're gonna charge you a $1.
But that's
$8.
everywhere. I grew up in Jersey City, and we run into that there, especially if you're trying to go into Manhattan. I guess I'm somewhat used to paying to park, so I'm not really tripping off of, I'm not really tripping off of that. But here in the Richmond, VA area, once 5 o'clock come or 6 o'clock, whatever it is on Friday, you good until Monday. But other than that, everything was cool.
Yeah, everything was cool. I got to hang out with the wife over the weekend. Also saw one of our lovely co-hosts up there this weekend. Got to hang out with her a little bit. Get my little bowl on and a little soul representation.
So you went to the Soul Bowl?
I didn't want to say it like that to put them out there. But
No, because that's a friend of the show. That's Spark of Life that put that out there.
Okay.
Spark of Life, of course, was the organization that we talked to very early in our tenure. Ain't no half stabbing Marcus J. So they're a partner of the show, and I would have been there with you had I not been out of town, which I'll share when it, in just in a minute. I'll share where I was, but I wish I had been in town because I would have been there. I would have been there with you. So you was with Miss Tony?
I was with Miss Tony. Had me a ball, kept bowling, and jump was packed, and made some people beside me in the lane beside me mad because I kept walking up their lane. But I'm like, what you want me to do? This place is packed. I can't just walk straight through. I get tired of having to bump people.
That's what's
you
up.
showed me a gap.
Well,
I'm gonna take that gap.
We're gonna have Tabitha Spurlock, who is the founder of Spark of Life, that organization that you supported over the weekend. We'll have her on the show again sometime in December to kind of talk to us a little bit. And from what I understand, they're having another Soul Bowl meet and greet organizational fundraiser sometime in February, I believe. And as we get information, I wish I had known sooner. We would have talked about it. But as we get closer to February, we will definitely talk about it and get it in to the listeners. Big Rube.
Yo.
Big Rube.
Yo.
What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just chilling.
How you doing, man? You doing all right?
Oh, man. Enjoyed my vacation.
Are you still on vacation right now?
Nah.
You're not on vacation no more?
Nah, I'm slaving again.
Oh, man. How long you been back to work?
Today.
So if I'd have talked to you yesterday, you would have said, I don't care. I'm on vacation. That would have been yesterday's conversation?
Nah.
Like, when did you stop saying that?
The I don't care thing ended about Thursday.
Yeah.
Because I had to do my, I did stuff with 4-H this weekend. So,
right.
My I don't care ended Thursday.
Yeah.
But I was still on vacation.
Well, we had people who listen to Ain't No Half Stabbing Marcus J every single week. They had been, I've been getting some tweets and a few, texts and stuff, and it was like, yo, what was up with your boy with the I don't care? It sounded like Milk D from Audio 2. I don't care.
I mean,
what was up with that?
The 2 is audio.
I thought I was corny. And as a matter of fact, I am corny for actually going there. But you corny too for seeing where I was going and meeting me there. That's what's up.
If I could remember the next 2 words, I would have finished it out. Better. But
yeah, I think we represented our corny pretty good.
I try.
Not me, just you.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. So the weekend was all right?
Yeah, it was good. Did my thing with 4-H. I work for I volunteer my time with the 4-H cabinet as an advisor, helping the kids out as they make decisions that affects other youth in the state of Virginia. So
Big Rube is a role model. It's good to hear that.
Don't tell nobody.
Nah, well, you better than Charles Barkley. I'm glad to hear it, man. So it's good to see you. I'm glad you back in effect and whatnot. You ready for a show tonight, man?
Oh yeah, one more thing. I'd like to give a big up to the Old Dominion Monarchs, the
right.
number 4 seed in the FCS championship playoffs, baby.
That's what's up, man.
The first round bye.
That's your.
I don't want to hear anybody who don't got a team in the playoffs talk.
That's your alma mater, Old Dominion.
Most definitely.
We'll let you have your moment because I don't believe my football team is doing anything. Be honest with you, I haven't followed them in a few weeks. But your team is there. You get to have that moment. So I'm glad
flexing.
It's making you happy. So we good.
Frisco, Texas, here we come.
It's good for that. So I want to take the opportunity to introduce our special guest joining us in his monthly spot here on the third Monday of every single month. You get to hear the original host of this time slot, the host of the Green Room with Jay Grizzy Green. Joining us on Ain't No Half Step with Marcus Jay. You got Jay Grizzy. What's up, Grizzy?
Oh man, I'm back. It's been
Been about a month.
Couple of weeks.
A couple weeks, almost a month.
It's like it felt like it's been forever, but when I come back, it just always feels
That's because
natural.
That's because it's home, man. It's
natural.
Home. You know what I'm saying? You like the older brother. You like Chuck from off of Happy Days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you never see it. That's a good
Monday,
one.
Tuesday, happy days.
You like
Thursday,
out.
Friday, happy days.
Wally after the beef got older,
Yeah,
right?
he
Wally
just moved
was never,
out.
yeah.
But at least Wally, you seen again. Like you never seen Chuck from Happy Days.
Right.
It's like the little kid from Family Matters that went upstairs and never seen
came back.
again.
I like that. I like that role though.
Yeah, so we go call you
It's
Chuck from Happy.
mysterious.
We go call you Chuck from Happy Days. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. A lot of things going on personally in my life, so I'm happy about. Of course, love coming here to the show. Ain't no half stepping. My week really was just busy. But I had a chance to go see Lincoln, which came out in theaters. That was filmed right here in Richmond.
Wow.
And me being the history buff, I had to go see it. A lot of folks looked at me like, really? That movie's going to be boring. I was like, to you.
No, I enjoy that kind of stuff. The only one I didn't like was the one about Hoffa. That was boring, but this one was good.
Right. This one was for all history heads or all folks who really want to know like what really happened in that time period. Spielberg did a good job, and I'm not going to get rid of the movie for everybody because the work speaks for itself. But
was it long? That's the first
2
question.
hours and 20 minutes.
That's about right.
Considering and then Daniel Day-Lewis, he's a great actor. But just a real quick review for folks who want to go or curious to know what it's about. He really digs deep behind what takes place in getting the 13th Amendment passed, which was the abolishment of slavery. If you didn't know,
right?
So I recommend folks go see it. I recommend especially kids to go see it because you could dig a little bit deeper behind what they're giving you in the history books. And Spielberg, director of Color Purple, director of Schindler's List, he does justice for the most part, in my opinion, in regards to what he wanted to speak about.
And he produced the Goonies, man.
Exactly. What was the monster in the
Chuck? Was it Chuck?
Sloth.
Sloth. Yeah, Sloth.
Yeah, Sloth.
Wow. How can you go from Close Encounters of the Third Kind to Sloth?
Hey man, it is what it is. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Real quick, kind of share my weekend. I had an opportunity to travel this weekend. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Listeners knows I'm a traveling man, and had an opportunity with Kdub to actually travel to Memphis, Tennessee, where we went to see the Knicks play against the Memphis Grizzlies on Friday night. Prior to that, we spent the afternoon Friday at the Lorraine Motel, which was the place that Martin Luther King was murdered in April of 1968. So we got to tour that, took some photographs, and then we had done some other things. I'll let Kdub share with you one of the highlighted moments that we had when we spent the weekend in Memphis, Tennessee, and that was probably as good a time as any to bring in the Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. basketball analyst. We got Kdub on the line. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Before we get to the National Basketball Association, I just shared with the Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. listeners that you and I, scouting for the show, ventured to Memphis, Tennessee yeah, you like that. Ventured to Memphis, Tennessee to check out the New York Knicks play against the Memphis Grizzlies, and I shared with them what we did on Friday prior to the game. Why don't you share with the listeners what we did on Saturday before we tore up Memphis?
Saturday. Well, just to kind of wind everything down, man. The highlight of the whole trip was we took a trip to Henning, Tennessee, which is about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Memphis. And whether I don't know if a lot of people realize it or know it or not, but that is the boyhood home of Alec Taylor. So we were able to go to the Alex Haley Museum and had pretty much a one-on-one visitation with Kunta Kinte's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, 7th great-granddaughter, which would be Alex Haley's first cousin.
It would fourth. Because she would be 7th generation, just like Alex was. She and Alex were cousins, so I guess that would make her either the 4th or 5th great. So it goes great, I believe, granddaughter. And the way it goes, if you remember Roots, you go with Kunta Kinte, you go to Kizzy. Kizzy's son was Chicken George. Right. Chicken George had 8 kids, only 3 of which you saw in the movie. One of them was Tom, which was the lineage that leads to Alex Haley.
Right.
But the other one was a gentleman named Lewis. Looks like we lost Kdub. We lost Kdub, but we'll get him back in a minute. The other one was Lewis,
right.
And Lewis would be the great grandfather of Miss B, which was the person that we were meeting with. We got Kdub back on the line, brother. You still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. I just explained to them who Miss B was and how she was a cousin to Alex Haley. So it was a great day. You pick up right there.
Yeah, so basically we went through one part of the site which housed the museum. We saw a short 15-minute presentation on the making of Roots and its impact at a particular time that it was aired on TV back in the late 70s. And then from there, next to that particular viewing room, we were able to see a number of different artifacts, everything ranging from the hat that Ben Vereen wore in the movie as Chicken George to the actual writings of Alex Haley in regards to Roots, as well as the autobiography of Malcolm X, and a lot of other different artifacts that was important to Alex Haley, whether that be pictures of his family, the glasses that he wore, or the violin. One thing that struck me in regards to the artifacts that was there was a picture of 2 sardines, and I want to say it was 18 cents. And the whole meaning behind that particular picture was that he used that as inspiration, motivation to realize that things could not have gotten any worse for him at that particular time. So, what he did was when he became successful, he took that picture and also put it next to his 8 Emmys that he won for the picture of Roots. Also, from there, we got to go into the bookstore. But what was pretty much the highlight of that visit was entering into his grandmother's house. And at this particular house is where he was given the stories of his family, all the way from, Kunta Kinte and down to Kizzy and so on and so forth. And the house was restored back as close as possible back to its original form, with the original hardwood floors, the original phone. We found out that at the time that his grandmother was there, if I'm not mistaken, Will Palmer built the house in 1919, and at that time there were only 8 phones in the whole city of Henning. And them being one of the families, black families, I should say, in Henning, they pretty much were the only black family that had a phone. You saw everything from the original stoves that housed the irons to an original ice box, not the ice box that we would see nowadays, but literally an ice box, as little as it can get with that term, ice box.
I tell you, Dub, I tell you, one of the highlights for me was when you and I had an opportunity to take pictures with Miss B and sit on the actual porch that those stories were told on. And then after that, tell the listeners what we did when we left that house.
We ventured probably about a mile down from the house in a small city. And when we say small city, I wouldn't even say a city.
It's more like
small
a town.
With the
where, you had the classic police station next to the post office, and that was connected to the barbershop. But we ventured to the grave site of Chicken George. At this particular grave site, of course, when you first entered the grave site, you saw predominantly all of the white individuals that died in that area, and then the black people that were buried at this cemetery. They were encased in a of all things behind a black gate, and then in that section, the Haley family had their own plot, and we saw the last resting place of Chicken George, as well as Elaine, Will Palmer, the Alex Haley's grandmother and grand aunts, and Alex Haley's mother.
Right.
Which was, I mean, you know, if you watch the movie, if you haven't watched the movie, I implore you to do that. But, you know, it just really hits you at the fact that you're at the location where pretty much a lot of black people, you know, this was, let me back up. This is basically the individual that put something together that we still today hold dear to our hearts, where we have individuals that want to trace their lineage. A lot of things that we do for family reunions could trace all the way back to, you know, Alex Haley getting these stories from his grandmother and putting together the book and the screenplay. And just to be sitting and standing basically on Chicken George, one of the main characters of Roots, to sit there and just stand on his gravesite. I mean, to this day, I mean, it's a few days that we've left, and I'm still kind of speechless. I really can't find the words to describe how I felt and what I saw. You know,
I'll be honest with you.
Real moving experience.
I'll be honest with you, Dub. I had been there in July. I took my girls there, and I remember talking to you and talking to my friends and family about it and wanting to do it again. And then it just so happened that you and I had been talking, and we had looked at the Knicks schedule, and we wondered, well, when is the Knicks going to be in Memphis? And it just so happened that it worked out that it was on a Friday night, which is basically the impetus for why we were able to make this trip come true. So definitely glad that you and I had an opportunity to do that. We could probably talk about the trip for the whole 2 hours, but what I want to do is I want to transition to the main reason for why we got you on the live line here tonight, as we do from time to time. The New York Knicks played a game in Memphis on Friday night. It was the first defeat of the season. Why don't you tell us about what your thoughts were? I was sitting next to you, so I already know, but why don't you tell Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus, J, Big Rube, Carlton Banks, Jay Grizzy, and Lil B listeners what was going on in the mind of Kdub for that 2.5 hours in Memphis.
Well, to be honest with you, I had two emotions. If anyone took the time to watch the game, I would say that it was a game of 8 versus 5. My own opinion, and I've you know, spoken and saw a number of people that had that same view of the game. But and I, you know, Marcus can attest. I was hot. I was upset because, you know, it just was a very lopsided game. But my other emotion during that game, I have come to the realization that I know exactly now why they call you Marcus J. Your new name from me is Marcus Jinx.
I thought you would get him sooner or later.
Jake?
Marcus Jinx.
If anybody, you know, and all our longtime listeners have known, you know, myself and Marcus J, we tend to meet up at least once or twice a year to go to a New York Knicks game. And for whatever reason, as long as I've been living in the state of Georgia, going to Atlanta Hawks games, every game that Marcus J attends in the city of Atlanta, the Knicks lose.
I got one victory. We got one victory. We usually lose. I'll give you that, but we won once.
Your winning percentages is terrible right now. I don't trust you.
That's terrible. All right.
And
well,
we travel to Memphis, Tennessee to watch the Knicks play. I mean, you know, we were very amped to watch the game. You know, we had, you know, being that it was in Memphis, we were an hour behind our usual time. So, you know, we were getting antsy and getting excited. The game was pretty entertaining. You know, we were able to watch the game with some fellow Memphis people who actually, believe it or not, agree with me in regards to how lopsided the game was. We enjoyed ourselves, but like I said, Marcus J now is Marcus Jinx.
Marcus
You heard it here first on Ain't No Half Steppin' from Kdub.
Real quick, let's kind of put a bow on the Knicks because there's a couple of other things I want to get the crew to ask you questions on. As far as the Knicks losing that game, the night before, they got a big win in San Antonio. Nobody expected them to get. Only one person on the planet that I know said that they would win that game, and that was you. Then they go to Memphis. They lose the game. Of course, they had some help losing the game. In spite of me being a jinx, I accept that. But in all reality, the truth of the matter is, You know, they got a lot of calls that didn't go their way, and then they lost their cool. And the only person on the court that seemed to have his head screwed on right was Rasheed Wallace, which is crazy as hell to begin with. And he got a tech in that game. I digress from that. But then they end up, off of losing that game, it would have been real easy for them 36 hours later to show up at Madison Square Garden for a 12 p.m. game yesterday and have a letdown, and they go out and they smack the hell out of the Indiana Pacers. Are the Knicks for real? I'm not asking you as a fan. I'm asking you as a basketball analyst.
Yeah. I mean, if you really watch the way that they're winning in different ways, and it's not all on Carmelo's shoulders. You have a lot of different players that are stepping up. You have J.R. Smith one night. You had Jason Kidd that pretty much allowed them to win the game. Jason Kidd and Raymond Felton, I would say, against San Antonio. Everybody is doing their thing, but the one consistent thing which is different that you see from this year's New York Knicks team is that they are playing defense, and I'm referring to all-out defense. I mean, if you're a student of the game or a student of the last, let's say, 7, 8, 10 years of basketball, you know, you're seeing a lot of individuals on the Knicks changing their game. Everything from Carmelo Anthony hustling into the stands for loose balls to J.R. Smith not shooting as many bad shots as we're accustomed for him to do on a nightly basis. So I would say that, yes, the Knicks are for real. They are someone to contend with, and, similar to what Marvin Stoudemire said when he was signed, the Knicks are back.
All right, well, what up, Kdub, Grizz here. What's good?
What's going on, sir?
Not much, man. I'm chilling. As a fellow Knicks fan, how do you think when Amari comes back, where is he going to fit in? Where is Melo going to go? Is he going to go to the 3? He's going to stay at the 4, bringing Amari off the bench slowly? How do you think that's going? Because considering, honestly, I predicted a top 4 seed. So, you know, I'm expecting us to hold that court. I don't see anybody in the East, being that Chicago's down, Boston's got a little bit younger. But I really don't see anybody else other than Miami that can give the Knicks a hard time. So what do you think was going to happen when Amari comes back to the squad?
And just to piggyback on that comment, that's a good one. But you also got the Brooklyn Nets sharing the town on a 5-game winning streak. So jump on what Grizzy said, but then address the Nets as well.
Well, in regards to the Knicks, this is my own opinion. I think that, you know, when Amari Stoudemire is ready to come back, they should ease him back into the rotation coming off the bench. And then eventually, maybe even around that after the New Year's, possibly look into him starting again and have that traditional lineup of Raymond Felton and take your pick as far as your 2 guards, Carmelo Anthony playing at the small forward, Amari Stoudemire at the 4, and Tyson Chandler at the 5. The one thing that, again, that is different from last year and a lot of previous years, and you could this is arguably the deepest team in the NBA, because when you look at the Knicks roster, they can go 2 to 3 people deep at every position. So you have a lot of leeway and different combinations that you can throw out there, and I think that the coaching staff, will put it out there. I mean, without Amari Stoudemire, it has shown that it is successful. And also, you have 3 individuals on your team that have championships. So, you know, I've never heard or never knew of Amari Stoudemire being a problem in Phoenix, nor have I heard any grumbling, you know, while he's been in New York. So, you know, I mean, if he just kind of takes a step back and look at everything, you know, I think that I would hope that he would be accepting of that, you know, but you are asking someone that has never came off the bench before in their career to come off the bench. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. But I think that, due to the success of the team, I think that he'll buy into it.
Real quick, tell us about Brooklyn.
And Brooklyn has they turned it around. They have been on a 5-game winning streak. Marshawn Brooks is coming off the bench, and he's looking to be, you know, very formidable form coming off of the bench. You have Darren Williams. They just got they actually what I would say is Andrew Black has been a big surprise with them coming off of the bench. Last night he had 22 points against Sacramento. But if you want to be a cynic and look at the net, you know, you look at all of their wins and you ask yourself, who have they really beaten?
Nobody.
A lot of the teams that they've won against are teams that they should beat. Your Orlando twice, Sacramento last night. They got their doors blown off by Miami, as well as they blew a 22-point lead against Minnesota. So we really it's kind of hard to gauge. I won't say kind of hard, but we'll see what the Nets do this evening against the Lakers, and the next Monday they play New York, which was the rescheduled game from first game of the season. So I think by this time next week we'll kind of have a idea of what type of team the Nets are.
Now let me not talk about the Fakers right quick, but talk about the other LA team, the Clippers. They seem to be playing pretty good ball right now. What do you think?
They are playing outstanding. They're quietly, ahead in the Pacific Division. The thing about the Clippers is that, the same way that I talked about the Knicks being the deepest team in the league, you could arguably say that the Clippers are that particular team, because right now they're very successful, and they don't have Grant Hill, they don't have Chauncey Billups. You have an out of shape Lamar Odom, but you have Jamal Crawford still being Jamal Crawford. Former Sixth Man of the Year. You have Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and you have General running the whole show, Chris Paul. So right now I would say in the West, the Clippers are one of the top 2 teams, top 2 to 3 teams in the Western Conference. They're looking very good, and this Wednesday you'll see them against the young Oklahoma City Thunder. So that'll be a very entertaining game, and that'll kind of from that game you're going to see the future of the Western Conference.
All right, I guess we can stop talking about the secondary team in LA. What's up with the Lakers?
The Lakers, man, I take my hats off to the Lakers. They did something this past weekend that I commend them on. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar finally got a statue in front of in LA, and to me, I'm a big Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fan / Lou Alcindor. So I commend them for doing that. I think it's a little overdue, but that's just my opinion. The Lakers have gotten back into their swing of things. They're not looking as bad as the team that they did under Mike Brown. Bernie Dick's staff has, I guess, changed the mindset, but it doesn't hurt that you have, Kobe Bryant on your team as well as Paul Gasol. Right now, from what I understand, Mike D'Antoni is still a little delayed as far as his return back to the court. Him being selected as the coach of the Lakers 2 weeks after he had knee surgery. So he's attending practices, but right now he hasn't actually coached on the bench during the games. But like I said before, man, the Lakers are a talented enough team where they will be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of where, after the dust settles, where will they fall.
I can agree with that. I mean, that's it. I'm just ready for this whole coach thing to disappear, and come January, February, you might hear a little bit more from me. But right now, I almost don't care.
Any other time, Dub, he got a whole lot to say about his team. Right now, he want to be quiet. You know what I mean? Like you talked about Mike D'Antoni being a coach. That's news. That's newsworthy. Not just because it's Mike D'Antoni, but it's because it's not Phil Jackson. But he ain't going to talk about that.
We talked about that last week.
Ruben up here like he's the little kid who's on punishment right now. So
man.
don't please him.
Yeah. See, unlike the rest of y'all who worry about y'all teams every other game, I don't worry about the Lakers because just like Dub said, we're good enough. We're going to be in the playoffs. And you know what? At that point in time, most teams really don't want to see us in the playoffs. It's all good.
That's what it is. Dub, we're going to go around the NBA real quick because we know your time is short. We're going to play name association. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say a name, a team, or a person. Give me something real quick, and then we're going to move on. That work for you?
Got it.
Andrew Bynum. He's laughing.
Oh, man. He looked like Ike Turner, man. Andrew Bynum, if everybody hasn't heard, he hurt his knee again, and his comeback has been a little stalled because he was playing bowling. Hurt his knee. I really don't think that Andrew Bynum is going to be. I think that he's not going to really help Philly this year, and who knows whether or not he's going to be there next year.
Trade looks better every day.
We're going to talk about the Clippers again. What's going on with my big man out there doing in Lob City?
What?
Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, the orchestrator of the whole offense is Chris Paul, man. He gets everybody involved. The thing that I would say about the Clippers and Blake Griffin, he has to not change his game, but he has to work on his free throws. And now a lot of teams are starting to, I guess you could say, for less of a better word, they're starting to rough him up and get him a little agitated. But hey, they're still successful at this point.
Is it true that he got a little bit of a mid-range jumper going on right about now?
He does, but just like a lot of individuals, their first couple of years coming into the league, it needs work. I think that with consistent practice, it'll be something that he can rely on instead of always going to the rim and trying to high fly acrobatic.
Real quick, we got some injury news. Dwayne Wade, we got Brandon Roy, and we got Marco. Not Marco. I'm thinking politics. I'm thinking of Rubio, the Timberwolves kid. What can you tell us about those three guys?
Roy just had successful knee surgery on his knee, arthroscopic knee surgery a couple of days ago. I haven't seen exactly when his return will come. Dwayne Wade, from what I understand, he has a bad foot that kept him out the lineup this past weekend. And Rubio is on the mend. He just started practicing real lightly with Minnesota, so possibly you would say around that January, February time frame of his return.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Dub. We're going to leave it there. We know that you're moving about and doing some things tonight. We appreciate you taking some time out, making sure we got what we needed as far as the NBA is concerned. We're going to talk to you next time, my brother.
All right now, man. Y'all take it light.
All right, brother.
Peace.
Travel light. Peace. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're going to take our first break of the night. When we come back, we got the National Football League for the rest of the hour. Marcus J. Ain't no half stepping. Be back in a minute.
Proud big brother of Marcus J. And I love listening to Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. on globalscaleradio.net. Hi, I'm Chuck. Proud big brother of Marcus J.
With your rap, well, I'll tell you, Pilgrim, I started the crap when you